Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that my sister cheated on her ex and he totally lost interest? My 25 male 23-year-old sister Katie just moved to the same city I live in, which is not our hometown. We get along pretty well, but something that's always kinda annoyed me about her is, since high school she loves to latch onto my social group and has dated a couple of my friends. It always makes things awkward for me and the friendship inevitably changes. So typically, I refrain from introducing her to my friend group, but since she doesn't really know many people in our city, I invited her to a recent outing with my friends for my birthday. I got a buddy out called Dan, who is somewhat recently single. Unfortunately, his ex cheated on him on a girl's trip and the breakup was awful, and he still has some trust issues from it. I know that Katie and her college ex from a couple years ago broke up because she hooked up with another guy when she visited her friend at another school. She knows how I feel about it and says she feels awful and wishes she could take it back. Well, anyway, at the hangout, Dan and Katie were talking quite a bit and Katie gave him her number. He asked me if it was cool if he asked her out or if that would make things too weird. I basically told him I appreciate him asking, but he doesn't need my permission. That said, I told him about her past because I know how he feels about cheating. That was a deal breaker for him. He started to say some not nice stuff, but then stopped when he realized it was my sister, lol. But needless to say, he lost interest then and there. They ran into each other the other day, and while I wasn't there, I heard it was pretty awkward. I guess she playfully teased him about not texting her yet, and he just gave her an awkward answer about being super busy. She asked me about it, telling me how much she thought they hit it off and everything when I was honest with her about what happened. Dan's one of my good friends, and I felt like I had to give him warning. But Katie got mad. She said a lot of things to me about being a horrible brother and not letting her move on from the past and all that. Since then, been having some second thoughts. Obviously can't take it back, but she does kind of have a point that it was a couple years ago, and she should be able to start fresh with new guys without the past coming up. But in the moment, I was just trying to protect my friend from potential heartbreak. I get both sides, I guess. Was I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, and bro, just tell her to stop trying to hook up with your friends. Are you kidding? Exactly. They're OP's friends, not disposable, not a menu. How many friendships of hers would he have to ruin before she'd stop introducing him to hers? 1? Yes, she would have flipped out after the first girlfriend dumped her as a friend because of her brother's wrongdoings. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. It's not cool for your sister to repeatedly go after your friends. Seriously though, she had no problem finding a random guy to cheat with, so she shouldn't have any problem dating someone who's not her brother's friend. It is not even just one, it's a couple. She most likely doesn't care what happens after they break up because OP has to deal with the aftermath. A conversation needs to be had between them long time ago because she just can't be doing that so casually. I'm not surprised if she does continue to cheat with the way she just keeps dating his friends. She's not the only one at fault though. His friends also choose to date her too, unless OP was fine with it and didn't care. But either way, OP also needs to set boundaries with his friends that his sister is off limits, and tell them her history of dating in his friend group. If they still go after her, then cut them loose. Not the a-hole. People can grow and move on, but it doesn't change the fact that they did it in the first place. If it was a deal breaker when you told him, it was going to be a deal breaker when he inevitably found out. You just saved them both a lot of time, lol. Agreed. Being able to move on does not mean everyone has to pretend what happened never happened. It means that you accept that some people will not want to date you, or you may have to work a bit harder to earn trust. Keeping important details about your past is a terrible way to earn trust. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister's boyfriend the truth? My 24 female sister, 21 female, is saying I'm the a-hole for telling her now ex-boyfriend what she has really been doing behind his back. Some context, she has been living with me and my family for a couple of months. She and her boyfriend have been together for 8 months, and it's been kinda rocky to say the least. Soon after she moved in with us, she told me that her and her boyfriend were taking a break which lasted about 2 weeks or so, and during that time she had slept with 2 different guys. She never told her boyfriend about it. A couple weeks after they ended the break, I noticed she was talking and playing video games a lot with a guy she met on Snap. He was in another state, so there's no physical contact, but I could tell there was an emotional connection between them. Her boyfriend found out about this and questioned her, but she always told him that they were just gaming buddies. I heard him constantly telling her how beautiful she is and how he would take care of her. Soon, she was telling me that she was going to end things with her boyfriend, but she was going to get this gift from him first. It was a fancy water bottle or something. This is where I may be the a-hole. One day, when I knew she was going to be out of the house, I called her boyfriend and told him everything she had been lying about, and about her wanting to break up with him. He called her immediately after, calling her out on her lies and ended the relationship. Almost instantly, I was getting calls and messages from her and other family members, saying I was an a-hole for sticking my nose in their business. I fully believe I did the right thing, and I know if I was in his shoes, I'd want to know too. So am I the a-hole? Edit, to clear some things up, I did speak to her before going behind her back several times. Yet, she continued to treat it like a game. I'm not trying to get back at her or make myself feel better. Instead, I put myself in her ex's shoes, and I know if I was in his position, I'd want to know. Not the a-hole. You saved your boyfriend years of heartache if you were to stay together with that thing. Good on you for telling him. I, for one, would want someone to tell me, especially if it's coming from her sister/family member. Ignore the people calling you jealous and asking why you would do something like that. They're all cheater sympathizers. The ones who are jealous are just cheaters. LMAO. Agreed. Not the a-hole. You did the right thing by telling him. He would have been more hurt to know you were aware and chose to not tell him because she's your sister. I am speaking from experience. In the last few months of my relationship with my ex, he was cheating on me with another girl. At that time, they were in different countries, so nothing physical happened. But they were already in a relationship and planning their future, like things they want to do when they meet, meeting each other's families, etc. That spineless coward did not even have the decency to end it with me first, after being in a relationship with me for 6 years. He was waiting for me to end it, as our relationship was already very rocky at that time due to family issues. We were from different religions. Our families were not on board, and his family wanted me to convert to their religion, which I was completely against. After we broke up, we agreed to be roommates for a little while till one of us could find a separate place. We were new in the city and did not know anyone else yet. I found out about his new relationship by accident. One day, 2 months after we broke up, I walked into his room to ask him something that he didn't hear me calling from the outside. He was on a video chat with his girl. I immediately felt uncomfortable and left. Then he disclosed that he's seeing someone new. Not gonna lie, I was hurt, but put up a brave face at that moment. But one detail he shared made me start to question things. He mentioned they're planning to visit each other's families when they meet. Knowing him, he would never do that unless he was very sure about someone. Some poking and prodding later, he divulged he had been talking to her even before we broke up. He didn't clarify, but I was able to conclude this continued for at least 6 months while we were still together. My heart was shattered, even more so when I found out all his close friends knew and no one bothered to tell me. When I questioned them, their excuse was, well, you know how he's so private about everything in his life and does not want anyone to talk about his personal life. I used to consider them my friends as well, but not anymore. We are still in touch, wish each other's on birthdays, etc., but I keep them at an arm's length. I felt betrayed from all fronts, and it took me a very long time to get over that. So, I would have greatly appreciated it if one of his friends had told me about this, so I didn't waste months of time with him. Next story. Would I be the a-hole if I told my younger sister's fiancé that she lied about my older sister when they met? My older sister Kay, female 32, my younger sister Jay, female 28, my younger sister's fiancé Matt, male 32. Kay and Matt met at work about 2.5 to 3 years ago. He was hired in as a consultant at her company on a few months assignment. They became close, but nothing happened because they probably didn't think it was professional. I think both, or I know that my sister at least, was hoping that it would develop to something more when his assignment was completed. Kay is a very shy and private person, but even with that, she couldn't stop talking about Matt to Jay and me. When she turned 30, we encouraged her to invite him too, with the rest of her close friends from work. She was very hesitant and panicked at first, but then she thought, yeah, why not? His assignment was almost done anyway. Matt and Jay met at that party. 6 months later, Jay told us that she and Matt are a couple. This devastated Kay, and I knew that, even if she held herself together and pretended to be happy for them. I almost made her confess her heartbreak to me because I couldn't just let her hurt alone without any support. She said that she's angry or disappointed, that after her birthday, he changes towards her and was even a bit angry. Then when he left, he stopped talking to her. Kate said that she probably misinterpreted his interest in her. I know that she's still heartbroken about it. Matt was assigned with her company some more times again, and it was awkward at first, but eventually they were friends again. Now he is a part of the family. Kay never showed that she's hurt. Now I found out that Jay told Matt that Kay had a boyfriend at that birthday party. Matt is very handsome and lovely, and Jay basically wanted him. Matt was shocked at first because he was hoping for something more, but he probably just thought that he too misinterpreted Kay's interest in him. He is very shy too. After the party, he probably decided to cut his losses and not pursue Kay. Jay, however, kept contacting him, asking him out, be supportive. First, he refused, but then they started dating. How do I know all that? Jay's roommate spilled the beans to me, thinking I knew everything, as I'm closer to Jay than Kay. Matt has now proposed to Jay. I feel sick because I want to tell Matt what happened so he makes an informed decision. Marriage is not a game. At the same time, he and Jay seem to be perfect for each other and the love is genuine. Maybe he was interested in Kay, yes, but obviously it wasn't that deep. Also Kay, I want to tell her, but she seems okay with the relationship too. She made it clear that Matt and Jay obviously meant to be or it wouldn't have happened. But I want to tell. Would I be the a-hole if I told everyone what happened? Now for the top comments. Wow, sister is something. She certainly didn't consider anyone else when she made her decisions back then. I would probably say something so he can make an informed decision, but be prepared for the backlash. The thing is, Jay and Matt are great together. He and Kay are so much alike, yes, both shy and introverted and very calm. But Jay's a social butterfly, and he has even said that she has taken him out of his shell, so I don't know. My only thought is, I would have wanted to know. But if I tell, I'm ready for the backlash. You should tell. Jay stole Matt's choice from him. Everything they have built is based on a lie. She didn't just tell that lie once. She told it repeatedly. She faked sympathy and comfort him. She manufactured the entire origins of their relationship. If Jay has deceived him in this way, I guarantee she has deceived him in others. Her behavior was foul and selfish. She didn't care who she hurt as long as she got what she wanted. How many other times has she hurt him to get what she wants? If their Matt and Jay's love is real, they will get over it. If it's not, and I don't see how it can be when it's built on sand, please let this man have the opportunity to escape before Jay tricks him into marriage. There's zero chance that Matt and Kay would be together, and that is not the point either. I want my big sister's heart to heal and Matt to make an informed decision. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling coworker her kid is why I wouldn't date her? Disclaimer. This isn't one of those anti-dating single moms posts. I'm a single dad and have dated other single parents in the past. I have a coworker, let's call Pam, who I've worked with a couple years now, and she's a lovely woman. She's very pretty, good at her job, and I value her as both a coworker and a friend. She got divorced about a year ago and has started getting back into dating in the last few months. Nothing serious though. I'm widowed and have a 7-year-old. I'm definitely not opposed to dating another single parent, as I have before. Problem is, her kid is honestly unbearable to me. It's hard to say how much is his fault, as he does have ODD, and I suspect some other things as well. He's 13 years old, but regularly throws tantrums you'd expect of a much younger child. He's been suspended from school multiple times, and she has had to have him come into work with her to keep an eye on him, and he always gets into trouble here as well. As far as non-predators go, he's the worst kid I've ever been around. About a month ago, we were at a work function lately and dating came up, and she asked me if I was seeing anybody. I told her no, and she brought up us going out as we get along so well. I gave her the whole "we work together and I don't crap where I eat" thing, and she let it go, but mentioned how a lot of our coworkers met at work and it worked out for them. For what it's worth, we were in different departments, so we work on different floors. So while I see her at work a decent amount, it's not really a working together and seeing each other everyday thing. The last week, the weather has been beautiful, and yesterday management let us all off an hour early to enjoy the weather, and a lot of us went to the place next door. She brought us up again and again. I gave her the same thing. She then pushed and said she doesn't believe me. She asked if I don't like to date other parents, and I told her no, it's not that. She kept pushing, and I was honest that her kid is just too much. Not that I don't think I could handle a tough kid, but I just have no desire to put up with that for a kid who's not mine. From what little I know about ODD, it doesn't seem like a phase, and I'm not signing me and my kid up to deal with that long term. Let's just say she did not take it well and snapped at me about talking about her kid and left shortly after. Today I'm working from home, but feeling a little guilty about it all. Was I an a-hole who should apologize or just let it go? Frankly, her aggressive investigation of why you wouldn't date her was inappropriate in the first place. No one is entitled to an explanation as to why you don't want to date them. You could have refused, but she was so pushy. I don't think she would have accepted it. She's going to think less of you though. It's probably not either her fault nor her son's fault that he's like this. Yeah, I don't blame her for her son. I think it's a brain chemistry thing. It's just not something I would sign myself or my kid up to deal with. Please shoot HR an email about the interaction just to be safe. Yeah, our HR director and president of the company are two of my childhood best friends, so I'm not worried. But I shot the HR guy a note just in case. He's documenting it, but won't bring it up unless she does. She's a good employee overall, and we know she's been through a lot in the last year, so we're not trying to get her in trouble, but we are documenting to cover ourselves in case. That's nice of you to consider. Hopefully she'll let it go. I'm sure on some level she knows it's about her kid. It's hard enough dating with the kids involved, and having extreme circumstances makes it even more challenging. The fact that you're already a parent means that it's important for you to consider your child's well-being and safety in introducing potential permanent people in their life. Please always keep that priority. Her hurt feelings are not your fault, and it might be the reality that she needed to hear out loud from someone. She has a few more years before he's an adult. She can still have a relationship, but should leave her kid out of it, assuming she has a co-parenting partner. It sounds like her child is going to have problems in adulthood. Anyone that dates her has to know about her child. Update. Am I the a-hole for calling my coworker work sister after she called me work husband in front of everyone? Original post. I, 34 male, work in a small office and we have about 30 people working here. Mary, 35 female, is one of my coworkers. We have been working together for 6 years now. We have 6 people in our department, and we have to frequently travel across the state as our work involves overseeing government projects. Although my travel partner changes based on the project, Mary and I are generally put on similar projects and enjoy each other's company. My wife also likes Mary. Overall, we have a very healthy work relationship. On to the incident. Yesterday, we had a happy hour in our office, and we were all drinking after work hours and chatting. It was a group of around 10 people that stayed back. Mary was blabbering about how we both have been traveling together so much in the last year. She was roasting me for my habits while traveling, like always forgetting stuff in my hotel room, being sweaty and stinky when I join her for breakfast in mornings because I go to hotel gym. Everyone was laughing and she was making it sound how unbearable I was to tag along. All in good fun. I also told some funny and sweet stories about her and agreed with her saying that I can be difficult to be with sometimes. Mary came to me and hugged me tightly and told me that she loves me and I'm her work husband. It was all innocent on surface, but she might have been a bit drunk and just didn't let go for a tight hug. Also, I hate that phrase, as I do have a wife that I promise to be with forever and not just in non-working hours. After a few seconds, I started becoming uncomfortable and also saw a few people staring at us. So, to diffuse the situation, I took her hands off my shoulder and told her she was my work sister, and that is why I love to annoy her so much. That seemed to have upset Mary, and she left and went back to her desk and was sobbing silently. I tried to apologize to her, but she told me how embarrassing the whole situation was. She said that she just meant work husband in platonic way, but me calling her work sister made her sound like a creep in front of the whole office. She was also angry that I aggressively removed her hands from my shoulders while hugging. I tried to reason with her that I do not like the work husband phrase, and also people gave dirty looks when she said it. So, I was just trying to make sure people do not take her words in the wrong way. We talked for a few minutes afterwards and Mary calmed down. She hugged me again and left. I felt really guilty afterwards because I can see Mary's point. I made her sound like a creep by implying that she meant something inappropriate when she called me her work husband. However, I was a bit uncomfortable in that situation and just did not want people to call us that or assume something wrong. Am I the a-hole for calling Mary my work sister? I am sitting in my office writing this and a bit worried if I embarrassed Mary in front of everyone. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not a-hole, though you are being far too generous. The reason why she jumped straight to thinking you were calling her a creep because she knows what she was doing was inappropriate. Work husband is considered widely inappropriate now. She knows this. You responded correctly. You owe your actual wife loyalty. Mary needs to back off and act more of a professional. It sounds like Mary has built up your work relationship to be far too significant in her life and genuinely does have a crush on you. This is a danger zone, even though you are clearly not interested in betraying your wife. I would also speak to your line manager/HR about what happened, so if there is office gossip or future bad behavior from Mary, either more unwelcome hugs and implication of your relationship, or her being obstructive to your work after feeling rejected, then you already have the ball in your court. I'd also probably tell your wife about what happened and how you reacted, and that you have made a report about it. This 100%. She knew what she was doing. And instead of apologizing, try to make herself the victim by crying and making you feel bad and guilty about something she did. And the way she tried to spin you removing her from the hug really seals the deal she is trying to guilt you. You politely corrected her and set a boundary in a way that's concise, and tried not to make a big deal. She made it a big deal. Maybe I am extra sensitive because my ex cheated on me with someone he joked husband/wife with, and they both guilted me when I said it made me uncomfortable. Lol. You were never the bad person for setting a boundary. Good being loyal and honest. Not a-hole. I think you were justified that whole time. Unfortunately, alcohol can make things awkward for everyone, but you were made uncomfortable by the extended hug, so you removing her arms from you was understandable. The problem right now is that Mary is only considering her own feelings and not thinking at all how her actions made you feel. She did think that such a public display of affection might make a married man uncomfortable. She is only thinking that you made her look like a creep. And let's be honest, she did kind of look like someone hitting on a married man after drinking too much. Probably because she was, and she's hurt that her feelings aren't being reciprocated. Hope he needs to stay away. Bingo. That's why she kept going on and on with the roasting. She's proving how intimate and super friendly they were with each other, called him her work husband and then hugged him. I don't know, but in some people's unconscious mind, that is a way of laying claim to someone under the guise of a platonic relationship, but still leave doubt in everyone's mind. That's why she got so butthurt by him setting a boundary with her. If she's gonna call him her work husband and touch him publicly, then he should set the record straight just as publicly. Now for the first update. Thanks everyone for your comments and giving me confidence that I did not do anything wrong or inappropriate. As I was sitting in the office the next day, I knew things would be a bit awkward between Mary and me. Mary ignored me the whole morning. Initially, I was planning to go and apologize to her, but after the post, I decided that I do not need to do that, as I should be the one who was offended. Everyone in the office could see that we were acting weird, and I heard some people gossiping about us. One of the ladies also came to me and asked me if I want to talk about Mary and me. Around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I was sitting in my office working. Mary came into my office and closed the door behind her. She was angry at me and started saying that I need to stop being an a-hole and stop ignoring her. I told her to sit and to talk about what is going on. She told me that she feels humiliated and everyone has been staring at her the whole morning because of what I did. I also stood my ground and told her that I was okay with her making fun of me, but calling me her work husband and hugging me in front of everyone for a long time made the situation awkward. She told me to get over myself and that I should know exactly what she meant. Mary said that I made a big deal of what was supposed to be a joke and made it awkward for everyone. She said calling someone work husband is a normal thing and just means that she knows me intimately like a spouse would. She said that because we spend so much time traveling together, she knows all the intimate details of how I behave outside work. I stopped her and told her that I felt offended by the term work husband because I have a wife, and I do not want people to use that term to describe our relationship. I told her that she would not understand as she is single, but as a married man, I really do not want anyone to describe me as a husband in any capacity. She said that I am again misinterpreting what she was saying. She felt that as we have known each other more time than I have been married, she knows me more intimately than even my wife. I have no idea why she feels that way. And I also behave like her husband when we travel together. She went on about how we go out to dinners together after work, how I always insist on having breakfast together in morning to plan our actions of the day, and I walk around in my underwear, referring to my gym shorts, around her in mornings. She also talked about how we spend hours talking to each other during road trips, and how I am the only man she can trust with any secrets in her life. She said that I am the definition of work husband, and I am just in denial. I was a bit angry at this point. I told her that I do all that because I consider her my friend, and she is delusional if she feels she knows me more intimately than my wife. I told her I do not want to hear that term again, and it is extremely disrespectful to my marriage. Only one woman gets to call me her husband, and that is my wife. Moreover, if my actions are giving her such ideas, maybe we need to stop being friends. She became apologetic afterwards and told me that she did not mean to disrespect my wife, and it was not her intention. She apologized to me and told me to just let it go. She said that she loves traveling with me and she does not want anything to change between us. She again said that I'm misinterpreting her statement and just wants to move on. She came to hug me again, but I just told her it was okay and stepped back. I also talked to my wife about the incident that night. As expected, my wife was angry at Mary and told me that she hates the term work husband. She asked me if Mary has ever flirted with me during our trips or has a crush on me. I truthfully told her that I really have not felt that way, and she may have just said that because she was a bit drunk and is now being stubborn about it. My wife said that she feels a bit uncomfortable about Mary now and says that it's strike one for Mary and I need to try and put more distance between us while traveling. If she ever repeats the same behavior again, I should report her to HR. I promised my wife that I would try to reduce my interactions with Mary outside work hours and be more guarded around her. Not the a-hole. I agree you should go to HR so they're aware of the situation. I would also suggest no more business trips with her if possible. The fact that she claims to know you more intimately than your wife is not only delusional and disrespectful, it's concerning. She's only beginning to show her crazy side. Unfortunately, it's not an option to stop traveling with her. We are a very small team and have to travel together as we monitor projects across the entire state. So going on site with coworkers is necessary. I am debating myself if I should go to HR as I just want to move on. I agree with my wife to make sure this never happens again, as I would be left with no choice then. However, I am willing to mark this as a drunken harmless mistake and move on. You will regret not notifying HR. Mary has already said and done some very unprofessional and inappropriate things. You need to have a paper trail recording them. Not the a-hole. I agree with your wife that you should report this to HR just to cover your rear. Agreed. It's obvious your coworker is up for something else. Also, to avoid arguments between you and your wife regarding this one, listen to her and report your coworker to the HR. Especially after saying he walks around in the mornings in front of her in his underwear when they are actually gym shorts. How many other people has she told this lie to? That part really stood out to me as well. I definitely think a conversation with HR is in order with Mary making false claims like that. Better get the whole situation on their radar before Mary or someone else says something. Second update. Thanks everyone for the comments and explaining the urgency of the situation. I discussed it with my wife and have set up meetings with my manager and HR today. I plan to not file a complaint but document what happened last week and why it made me uncomfortable. I do not have any upcoming travels this week due to holidays, but I have to travel next Tuesday with her to a work site. I will discuss with my manager and what my options are. However, I feel a little distance between Mary and me for some time would be the right solution for now. Last story. My daughter just contacted me after 17 years, asking if I want to meet my granddaughter. Am I the a-hole for telling her that I don't care about her or her daughter and to never contact me again? Going to provide some background. I'm in my 60s now. I was married to my ex-wife and we had a daughter. Our marriage was going through its ups and downs, but I was really close with my daughter. But as our marriage was going through its difficulties, I made a huge mistake I still regret to this day. I started having an affair with my coworker. She was in a violent, physical, abusive relationship at home. We became friends at work, and things just escalated from there. She got an out for me. She got the support she needed to file for divorce from her husband, who is currently in jail now. The affair went nowhere and we called it off shortly after, but I was glad that she got off her abusive relationship and that she was safe. But when my ex-wife found out about the affair, things expectedly didn't go well. She lashed out and said a lot of horrible things about me to our daughter, who is 15 at the time. I admitted full fault with the affair, but even after the divorce, I sensed that the distance between me and my daughter was growing. Until one day, my daughter said she wasn't going to speak with me anymore, and she was going to cut me off from her life forever. That was the most painful thing anyone had ever said to me. I begged her to please reconsider. I still remember that day. But time passed on. My daughter kept her word, and after trying to reconnect with her for the first year, I gave up. I found out from one of my mutual friends that my ex-wife married a great guy. I was happy because I was hoping that would remove the hatred from my ex-wife, and my ex-wife would advise our daughter to at least rekindle a relationship with me. But that never happened. I moved states a year later. I'm at peace now, but still have some aching sadness. I have retired. Both my parents have passed away. My brother passed away tragically a couple years ago. To be honest, I'm waiting for my turn. I've only my dog and my sister left. A couple of hours ago, my daughter called me on my phone. I haven't spoken to her in 17 years. I instantly recognized her voice, but I didn't feel anything. No happiness, no sadness, just indifference. She was crying a lot on a call, and we caught up on life. She's married, and she has a daughter who's now 12. She apologized for cutting off contact, and she says her mom asked her to reconnect with me as her mom felt guilty about how everything played out. She said she really wanted me to meet her daughter, and her daughter was constantly asking about granddaddy. But I wasn't feeling anything. After we caught up at everything in our life, I told her I don't care about her or her daughter, and to never contact me again. I then hung up. Was I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. It is true no one falls in love faster than two married co-workers. You wouldn't get it. He was saving her. You wanted him to offer a safe space and comfort without getting his junk wet? This is one of the most obvious "you're the a-hole" posts I've seen here. Good lord. He's an a-hole, but he's also an idiot. I read this and thought, oh, he's stupid. Dude has zero self-awareness. I hate when adults make very bad adult decisions that affect their children and then blame the children when they respond in a very childlike manner. Your daughter was a teenager. That is a rough time for kids even when their home life is stable. You gave her 1 whole year before you cut bait. You gave up on her. Then you moved away. You told your daughter that she wasn't important enough to fight for, and she believed you. Now that she is an adult with a child of her own and has reached out to you, and you again told her she wasn't important to you, she now knows she was probably right to cut you out the first time. It sounds like he's been waiting 17 years to hurt her back, and he finally got his wish. Congrats on a small, pathetic victory. He's totally the a-hole. Now for the update. Look, I was extremely drunk last night. The words which came out of my mouth weren't the best, and my comments in my post weren't great either. Seeing how everyone said I was the a-hole, I decided to call my daughter again an hour ago. I didn't really expect her to pick up the call, but she picked up immediately. I apologized for last night, and she said there was no need to apologize. I then sent her a link to this Reddit post on messages and told her I know I was the a-hole. She again said that I wasn't the a-hole. She started crying again. I told her she's free to come to my house anytime the next 4 months, because after that, I will be leaving the country with my sister and our dog. Our parents left us a nice farmhouse in their home country, and we will be spending the rest of our lives there. I sent her my address and messages, and my daughter said she'd come with her husband and her daughter by end of next week. She asked if she was welcome to stay there for multiple days, and I told her she could stay for however long she wanted, as our house was spacious enough. Update. My stepdad turned my family against me. Original post. So let me start this off by saying I apologize for how long this may be. My dad passed when I was 15. Him and my mom weren't all that close by that time, so while it hit me hard, she wasn't as phased as you'd expect. I joined the military when I was 17, and in my first year out of the house, my mom remarried. I never really vibed with the guy, just had different personalities and such. He would often make snide remarks and tell me to man up about any inconvenience I'd be upset about. This led to spats between us, and I was often just as at fault as he was for these disagreements, though it never got too serious. I got medically discharged after a little under 5 years, and my mom and him said they'd be happy to have me back in the house. I told them it'd be brief, just until I got on my feet and got a job. I'd even offered to pay rent, to which they declined. About 3 days into being back home, my stepdad got alone with me, asked what he thought a fair rent would be. I was confused, but it was his house, so we came to an agreement, and I kept it from my mom, assuming he did not want her to know, as he never mentioned it around her. I never asked for anything from them, not out of spite. I just wanted to do things myself. He had a son from a previous marriage. Him and I didn't share many common interests or anything, but I never had any issues with him. I'd say we got along. The only thing is, he was given a lot from them. Paid for his schooling, paid for his car, paid for his living arrangements through college and even after. I was a little less than a year older than him, so we started college right after they married. But like I said, I didn't want or need help. But it felt lame that he'd get all that assistance and I was immediately asked for rent. But I digress. I moved out after 3 months and not long after, met a girl who I was crazy about, and we started dating. It was my first relationship. And I was over the moon the entire time, like in that early relationship haze, but it was just constant. I was very nervous to bring her home. My mom and I were very close, and I always worried she'd be very judgmental of the girl I'd bring home. My worries ended up being unwarranted though. They got along extremely well. My girlfriend does not have a family really. Long story. So my mom and stepdad became like that for her. Her and my mom hit it off extremely well, to the point they were hanging out just the two of them at times, and it made me extremely happy. My stepdad even really liked her, and I felt it brought us closer together, which isn't something I felt I wanted until we were. His dad abandoned his family growing up, and he put himself through school and got a nice high-paying job all by himself, which I had immense respect in him for. About a year in, I knew this was the girl I was going to marry. I told my mom and stepdad, and they both seemed extremely happy. She was practically part of the family already. My mom then gave me her engagement ring. My dad gave her which she kept. The job I had didn't pay great, so I figured even if it wasn't the ring she'd always have, it would be a great placeholder. But when I proposed, my girlfriend told me it wasn't a placeholder, and she absolutely loved it. I was legitimately never happier in my life. We started wedding planning, and my mom and stepdad said they'd help take care of the finances. It was the first time they'd offered to help me financially, and it really meant a lot. Fast forward to about 3 months later, I got a call from my stepdad who said I needed to come over. Felt a bit ominous, but I went over there after work. When I got there, my mom, stepdad, stepbrother, and fiancé, I saw her on the couch and could tell she had been crying. I immediately thought someone had died and went to go sit next to her, when my stepdad stopped me. He started hitting me with accusations of me cheating on her for our entire relationship. I was puzzled and told everyone there I don't even text any women I'm not related to besides her. Apparently, some girl had gotten my fiancé's number and told her that we were sleeping together for over a year now, but she didn't know I was in a committed relationship. She sent her screenshots of alleged conversations and knew stuff about me that a random person wouldn't know. I, like a fool, couldn't see what was happening in front of me. I was stunned, saddened, and furious. I begged her from across the room to look at my phone and see I'd never done any of that. Her and my mother were both weeping and I started to cry. My stepdad called me every word he could think of and escorted me out of the house while telling me if he saw me on his property again, he'd call the police. I spent the next several weeks trying to contact them to no avail. Calls, texts, voicemails, every messaging app out there, nothing. After those weeks, I got a call from my stepdad who told me to stop trying to contact her and that I was never welcome in his house or around his family again. I tried to call my mother over this time to no avail as well. After about a month, all I got from anyone was a text from my mother saying how sad and disappointed she was. My mom didn't really have much family, so they always spent holidays with my stepdad's side. They all shunned me as well. I saw their Christmas pictures on Facebook with my ex-fiancé present and seemingly in good spirits, which crushed me. The only family I had that would talk to me at all was my dad's brother and his family. Despite that, even they all seemed wary of me too. The only one that I think truly believed me was my uncle. I don't think I'd have made it without him, honestly. He showed me what I'd been missing in fatherly love, and I've never been so grateful for anyone. About 6 months after it all, I moved away from the East Coast and settled out in California, needing to get away from it all. A little less than a year after I moved, I got a call from an area code from back home, which I rarely got anymore. I picked up, and it was my stepbrother, whom I promptly hung up on. He called me back and I ignored it, but it stuck with me all day. I decided that if he called back again, I'd pick up, which he did later that night. It was awkward at best. He told me my fiancé was really torn up for a long time. It took her nearly a year to even start looking again for a significant other, when I hadn't at all since it ended. A few months into her doing so, my stepdad encouraged him to ask her on a date, which he did. Things went okay for the first couple outings, but never really clicked apparently. He told my stepdad about that, and the idiot told him, "I didn't get rid of Opie for nothing. She's a great girl. You need to figure it out with her." I almost collapsed, and it was quickly replaced with anger. Apparently, he had gotten a girl who I didn't know to pose as someone I had an affair with and forged some message screenshots to have her sent to my fiancé. Stepbrother told me he'd said it to him about a month ago, and he didn't know what to do. Apparently, it bothered him enough that he couldn't just sit on the info anymore, so he told me and said he was going to tell my mom and fiancé the next day. He called me first as a courtesy, so he knew what to say to them regarding me. I told him where I was and that I'd appreciate it if they didn't immediately contact me, so I had some time to digest it all. That was last Tuesday. I just texted him and told him I was ready to talk to them if they wanted to, and that they could call me tomorrow. I really don't know what I'm gonna say, or them for that matter. I expect some tears and a good number of apologies among other things. I don't really know if I'm ready to give forgiveness or anything like that. The only person I've told so far is my uncle, who I've asked to keep it to himself. Sorry again for how long this was. My therapist just had picked the wrong week to go on vacation and I needed to vent. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Your stepfather is a truly awful, insecure, small-minded man. Just my 2 cents, but you should always stay no contact with him. He will never be on your side. You might be able to understand why ex-fiancé believed what she did, and even forgive her, but that does not mean you should re-establish any type of relationship. That boat sailed when she didn't believe you, or give you a chance to prove your innocence. There are plenty of other women out there for you to meet, who aren't easily manipulated, or dragging the baggage of faithlessness with them. So sorry for all the pain this has caused. But as long as your stepfather is in the picture, your own life will be much happier without any of them in it. Wow, man. This sure is a lot for you to process. I'm glad everyone found out the truth now, and you have every right to take your time to rebuild the relationships that were destroyed, if that's what you want to do. I highly suggest you start therapy too, and we would love to hear from you again. Started therapy after moving last year and most definitely have benefited from it. Now for the first update. Sorry for the delay, busy day at work, and obviously a lot of other stuff on my mind. My stepbrother called me this morning and told me exactly what happened this past week. So apparently, what my stepfather said wasn't exactly what he told me. He elaborated more and said he was very careful with his words so as to not incriminate himself. Per him, heavily and very clearly implying what he did without directly saying what he did. Thing about my stepbrother is, he's much smarter than me. Instead of just walking to my mother and fiancé with that and getting into a shouting match with his dad, he took a different course that I wouldn't have thought of. He got a hold of my ex's phone and found a girl. Said it took him forever to backtrack it. He gave her a call and got her to meet him out in public. And that's where it all came to head. She was a Tinder match with my stepfather, which I think pretty clearly indicates that he had been sleeping around on my mom. That irritated me even more for obvious reasons. This girl alleges they did not sleep together. However, whether that is the truth did not matter to me. What does is my stepbrother talked to her and pulled on her heartstrings with a story and all that had happened. For the record, she clearly knew what she was doing. Maybe the time at hearing what had happened to me really shook her up, but again, it doesn't matter to me. She told him what happened. $8,000 for a phone call. That was the deal. He told her what to say and supplied the pictures of evidence. She made a call and that was that. My stepbrother asked her if she could tell my mother and ex, and even offered to pay her again for the record. She agreed to do it for free, and that happened on yesterday. My stepfather is on a business trip until Wednesday, so it was the four of them there. She came in and spilled it all to my mom and ex. Stepbrother said a tear started almost immediately from all three of them. After everything, he told them I was in California and that he'd tell them when I wanted to be contacted. This was before I texted him. A little backstory for you guys to try to understand some stuff about my mother and ex-fiancé. And this is in no way defending their actions, just to help some folks understand. My mother and I were inseparable after my dad passed. We were each other's rock. When I turned 16, I began to drink to kind of dull it all a bit. I told my mom we'd spent New Year's together the year I was 16, but ended up out with my friends drunk as all hell. I got a text from my mom who spent the night alone at home, and that was when we were never quite the same. She sent me a text about how sad she was all alone, and I felt like really bad over it. I stopped drinking that day until after everything went to hell. She's the type of person to always need someone. She can't handle being alone. I think when her and my dad's love began to fade, I feel that void. And when I was growing and ended up leaving home, my stepfather filled that void. Then my ex. As I said earlier, she doesn't have a family really. She had some real trust issues due to this, along with some really nasty past relationships. Despite this, she never would talk badly about past boyfriends, which I really admired. One was physically abusive, and I consider that an obvious exception. I, despite being debilitatingly shy, have been often told that I'm cute, especially by younger girls, meaning younger than me, not children. I never liked that title, as it's not very masculine, but got over it and learned to appreciate my boyish face and how often I would blush. My fiancé is just shy of 3 years older than me. I've always preferred older girls, had never given much time or thought to the girls who seemingly liked me because they were 18 to 20. This didn't stop the attention which upset my fiancé. She'd often ask why I wasn't interested in these girls, why I didn't leave her for someone younger and prettier, etc. I always found her extremely attractive, significantly more attractive than me honestly, and would always reiterate that to her, and that I never cared about any other girl. Okay, sorry to get off track. That again I hope brings a little insight to why I think they did what they did and believed what they believed. Again, this is not an excuse for them, nor am I really all that understanding personally. At the end of the call with my brother, he said they both wanted to call today, and I told him that'd be fine, so I sat and waited. By about 3 p.m., I was a little confused. I started to wonder if he'd made it all up to mess with me. It really worried me honestly. Then I got a text from him asking if I was all good, and I said yeah, and asked if they were actually planning on calling today. He said they'd been trying for the last few hours. I blocked them both when I moved out west and forgotten. Why I didn't block him, I don't know. I'm thankful I didn't though. So I unblocked them both and got a call from my mom about 10 minutes later. First thing she said was I sounded different. I almost hung up right then. Took all I had to just say yeah. She broke down immediately after that. I really thought I'd feel more. I'd be lying if I said I felt nothing. But the pain of it all just took hold of me more than her words. She asked if I'd gotten her texts. I said no. I guess she'd been trying to text over the last year, but I had her number blocked. If she really wanted to reach me, she could have. Maybe that's a little crappy, but I know it's true. I pretty much told her that I'd be willing to build some semblance of a relationship back with time, and she was happy with that. She also told me she was getting all her necessities out of the house before my stepfather got home, and she'd be filing for divorce immediately. I believe her too. She may be a poor excuse for a mother in my eyes, but she's never been someone to take half measures. I really wish I could be there to see that prick's face when he comes back to an empty home. My ex got the phone next and did the same tearful apologies my mom did. I felt a little more with her. I actually tried to get her to think and remember how many times I told her I'd never do that to her and how much I loved her, and she was beside herself. And to be honest, I'm glad. We talked for about half an hour and I really thought it was pleasant. Even though I told myself for over a year now that it would never happen again, thought there could still be something to us. She told me she still had a ring and it's made me upset, and just told her to give it to my mom, cause it didn't belong to either of us anymore. I could tell that really crushed her, and selfishly I wanted it too. She asked if she could call/text me. I told her it's fine, but to not expect a prompt response either way, which she understood. Pretty much gave her the same ultimatum as my mom, though I said any chances of us having a future relationship were very slim, which she said she understood too. I talked to my brother last and thanked him for everything he'd done. He was helping my mom get her stuff out of his father's house, apologized for all that happened, and told me he was going to go tell the rest of the family everything as well. Them, I have no connection to and won't say a word to, I don't imagine. Except my stepdad's mother, oldest person in either of the families, and she wished me a happy birthday and Merry Christmas over the last year. Maybe she was old enough that she doesn't care. Maybe she felt bad, but I'll talk to her odd as it is. Sorry for all the rambling. I fly home for my uncle's 60th birthday the first week of March. It'll be my first time home since I moved out here. I'll definitely plan on seeing my brother as well. I'm not adverse to seeing my mom and ex, but I've made it clear to them that I've got a lot of healing to do, and so do they. If anything further happens, I'll update again. Maybe after the trip home, but that looks like it for the time being. Also, this is kinda the last social media I have. I haven't been on here super often in the last year for the reasons I'm sure you could guess. I truly haven't seen any similar stories to mine that have been referenced in the comments, though I'd like to if you can find them. Thank you, everyone. Second update. I got a call from a number back home. I deleted most of my numbers a while ago from anyone I wasn't talking with. I picked up and it was my stepfather. He said hello and I hung up, then blocked the number. I immediately called my mom, fiancé, and brother. They're all safe and not around him. Mom is in a hotel that he doesn't know about. Fiancé and brother are at their own residences, and both say they feel adequately protected. He is not by any indication a violent man, but better safe than sorry. My brother said he got a call from him this morning when he got home after my mom wasn't there and wouldn't answer. Brother just told him what happened and not to contact any of them. Not sure how long he sat there, but he called me around 3 p.m. Pacific. Then about an hour ago, I got a message from a different number saying we need to talk. I assume that's him, and I haven't responded. That's the latest. Third update. Stepdad's mother called me. Had her number saved because of what I previously stated. Was a bit worried it may have been him trying to gather some info or something. It wasn't. She's a very sweet lady who did not have to be nice to me in any way, but has shown me compassion. She was very nice and wished me well while also apologizing on behalf of the family. I thanked her and wished her the best too. Shocking it came from that woman.